The Quest 2 has been the most popular VR headset in the consumer market, and for a good reason. But that won't be the case for that long, because just recently, Sony unveiled the next generation of the PlayStation VR 2. Now we know all the important specs, how it looks like, and some of the unique features that it has that no other VR headset has yet in this market. And to be honest, the PSVR 2 can easily take away the throne and be once more the best gaming VR headset for all consumers. Just however, there is a couple of concerning things I like to go ahead and highlight about the upcoming PlayStation VR 2 that everybody should at least be aware of. So in today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and go in depth and cover all the pros and cons about the upcoming PlayStation VR 2 and compare it against the Meta Quest 2, formerly known as, originally before the name change, the Oculus Quest 2. Let's get started. So in terms of a release date, there's no official release date from Sony regarding about the PlayStation VR 2, but many journalists and reporters have been all agreeing that we should expect to see the PlayStation VR 2 be released 2023 earlier that year, which gives the Quest enough time to actually prepare for the launch of the rumored Quest Pro. But that mysterious rumored headset is all for another video. We're just gonna go ahead and cover what we have available, and that is the Quest 2. So Exclusiveity. The PlayStation VR 2 does have some unique features that no other VR headset has available in the market. One of which is eye tracking technology. It then also supports haptic feedback on not just the controller itself, but also the headset. This is going to be the same haptic feedback that you expect to find on the brand new PlayStation 5 controller, where it's able to deliver this haptic feedback feel where you can feel everything from like when you're firing a firearm or something to texture. Now the Move controllers, this is how they look like. And when you compare it against the previous generation, there's a massive leap in generation. Meanwhile, the Quest 2 touch controllers have the basic vibration motors and such you expect to find on like a general gaming controller. It just vibrates. No unique haptic feels across the controller itself. Now, the headset itself is also said to have this haptic feedback technology, which means you'll be able to actually feel your character's heart rate or know when you got punched in the face when you're playing like a boxing game. So if you combine those two different haptic feedback sensors with the controllers and the headset, you'll be able to identify different textures from like concrete to like smooth stone and feel just like the wind blowing across your face or getting punched in the face by a character in the game. So the best overall full immersion experience for any VR headset. And to combo this amazing immersion, if we compare the specs between the resolution between each of these two headsets, the PSVR 2 hands down has the Oculus Quest beat, as it has an impressive resolution of 2000 by 2020, which actually does support full HDR. Keep this in mind, these specs being for HDR supported, this is going to be the first VR headset available in the market with full HDR, so this is a big deal. Now the Quest 2, it's not a bad headset at all. Still does have a really good, impressive resolution. The Quest 2 has a resolution of 1832 by 2040 and it has a field of view of 90 degrees. Once more, the PSVR 2 has a much better, wider field of view, as it actually can deliver 110 degree field of view, which is really great. Now the exterior texture, just like the PlayStation 5, it's gonna follow and have those unique PlayStation icons on the texture itself. And then there's a chance that the headset may be available in other colors, because originally when we first got an unveiled glance, a tease I should say, of the PSVR 2 by Sony, they unveiled this black controller. And now, to our surprise, it's also available in white, which just could hint that either the PSVR 2 is going to come available in both black and white, or just like the PlayStation 5, it may support face plates, where you can actually swap them with different colors. Now, continuing to examine the images that we've received from Sony, there's a couple interesting things that I haven't seen any other headset have. For starters, this actually does look like it has a air vent. Now, I doubt this is an air vent to keep the headset cool. What it could possibly be used for to keep the fog from fogging up the lens inside the headset while you're gaming. That's what I think these vents are for, because the brains of the VR headset are still going to be the PlayStation 5 that it connects to. And then if you take a look at the eye cover in general, looks completely overhauled, as it looks much more comfortable than ever before, which is good. An issue that I had previously with the older generation PSVR was it just allowed a lot of light to leak in. If it does have like a suction design, there shouldn't be any light leakage whatsoever. So combining that redesign and the air vents, it seems like comfort was PlayStation priority. And then since the Halo strap from previous generation PSVR also made its way to the latest PlayStation VR 2, the Halo strap to this very day is much more comfortable than any other strap for any VR headset. There's reason why there's a bunch of third parties making this strap for the Quest. Now, unlike the Quest 2, there's only 3 IPD settings, which is harder to find the right setting for everybody's eye. But with the PlayStation VR 2, it looks like we have the ability to actually dial it down to everybody's unique spec, as there's a little rotating wheel right here. Now, there's no mention if the PlayStation VR 2 is going to have integrated speakers like the Quest 2 does on the sides, but this doesn't really matter because similar to like the previous generation PSVR, there was no built-in speakers in that, because you would just utilize the speakers on your TV setup. So this wasn't much of an issue, but I'm very positive that we'll support wireless headsets like the PlayStation Pulse 3D headset and of course the third parties. Built-in microphone, very likely to happen, but again, you can always just use a headset. Now, the OLED display, the PSVR 2 is indeed going to continue having the OLED display, which is great. The pros with OLED displays, whenever you're playing those darker games, the black pixels will actually be black because that pixel is able to be turned off. So unlike the Quest 2, which still uses an LCD display, whenever you're playing those darker games, those dark environments, it's not going to look gray, it's just going to look naturally black. I personally prefer OLED and LCD, and the fact that Sony is continuing to use this even on the next generation PSVR means that this headset is going to be the best looking VR headset available in the market. But unfortunately, the PlayStation VR 2, it's still going to be tethered to the console. So to others like me, finding game space next to your gaming console might be challenging. Meanwhile, the Quest 2, you could literally move it anywhere around, play it with your headset in your garage. You can basically take that headset anywhere. Whereas the PlayStation VR 2, you have to have it around your PlayStation 5 setup. That means you gotta be super cautious when playing around your TV. Try not to bump into the screen and crack it, which was a common thing. But thankfully, for the first time ever, the PlayStation VR 2 actually has internal cameras, which means these are the sensors that's going to be using to track the environment, the controllers, without having to actually use external cameras and such. This was one of the biggest complaints I had was the older generation PlayStation VR. You can go ahead and watch the comparison video I did with the Quest 2 against the PlayStation VR 1 paired to the PlayStation 5. You could go ahead and watch that video if you'd like to know my opinion and how that turned out. But it was such an inconvenience using lights to track because depending on the day, the room could be super bright that the camera will struggle. So most of the time, it wasn't even tracking as accurately. But with these outward facing cameras, this should resolve this issue, making the PlayStation VR 2 extremely accurate when it comes to tracking with modern hardware. Just however, I hope this cable that sticks from the back part of the VR headset is able to be removed, because a common issue that will usually happen with the older generation with that cable is people will step on it. So over time, that cable will get damaged internally. I hope there's a way, or I hope that's a USB-C cable that you could just remove and replace in case that happens without having to buy a new headset all over again. Now back on the remotes, they look extremely sci-fi, but this ring that goes around should also feature a similar finger tracking motion like it does on the Quest 2 controllers. So that said, the PlayStation new Move controllers by far is the most advanced gaming controller right now available for any VR headset, because when you compare it against the Quest touch controllers, it's extremely basic to the most part. But where the Quest 2 does shine is in its software, as this is still one of the few only headsets that actually have hand tracking capabilities, which means you don't need to have your controller charged to actually enjoy the VR headset. You can simply just put on your headset, just move your hands freely, and the cameras will actually track each individual finger and will literally allow you to navigate your Quest without having a controller, which means you can actually go on Netflix, go on the web browser, chat with friends without a controller, and if the game supports it, hand tracking games is also available on the Quest gaming library. The PlayStation VR 2, you're likely stuck with the PlayStation 5 controller or the Move controllers only. Then other cool features that the Quest 2 has, and I'm pretty sure Sony will have something similar, but the Quest is the only one that actually allows you to actually create custom barriers, which will allow you to actually bring even furniture in VR. Like a couch, you can actually bring a couch that you have in real life in the virtual reality where you can actually casually sit, and you can also bring your desk in the VR. And if your keyboard supports it, you can also type in VR. Utilizing the hand tracking feature I told you, if you have a supported keyboard, you actually see that keyboard in VR and begin typing like you would in real life. I doubt the PlayStation VR 2 will actually have this ability. So that's one of the pros and cons you gotta think about in terms of these two VR headsets. Then I cannot forget about the pass-through. Pass-through is the ability that allows the VR headset to actually turn on the cameras, so you, while wearing your headset, you can actually see your surrounding without having to take off your headset. It's all in black and white, but this works extremely well. So if you're trying to navigate through a room, grab something real quick, see who's yelling your name across the room, instead of taking off your headset, you can just tap the sides. It will toggle this pass-through mode. Maybe the PlayStation VR 2 will actually have a similar feature, but something tell me this isn't Sony's priority. Maybe in the near future, who knows. As PlayStation primarily is just focusing on the game side of things, which is fine. That's perfectly fine for everyone. Now, in terms of which one of these two VR headsets is the true powerhouse, well, obviously the PSVR 2 wins that hands down, as using the modern processor that's found on the PlayStation 5, which is very impressive. It has 16 gigs of DDR6 RAM. It has an 8-core CPU and a GPU with 10.8 teraflops. When you compare these specs to the Quest 2, it's really wimpy because it's using a mobile processor, a XR2, which is the same mobile chipset you'll find on like the Galaxy 20 that was released in October of 2020. So yeah, I don't even have to read you out loud the specs. It's underpowered. But that said, even with a mobile graphic card, games look absolutely amazing and are extremely enjoyable. Now, it does have 6 gigabytes of RAM, and this allows the headset to multitask really fluidly. I don't have any complaints or anything like that in terms of the headset itself lagging or becoming choppy or having a hard time keeping up when multitasking. In fact, Oculus actually encourage multitasking. If you can actually have multiple apps open up at the same time, the headset runs perfectly fine while you're even screen recording too. So although it does have a mobile processor, the headset it's actually extremely energy efficient, as a single battery charge can last the VR headset 2 to 3 hours of gaming. And if you need to, you could plug this into a wall while you're gaming as well. But if you ever need the extra firepower to be even powerful than the PlayStation 5, the Quest 2 does support PC VR gaming. So as long as your device is supported, you can easily plug this into any Windows computer, download the native software, because Oculus does support this, that will allow you to actually own and play PC VR games on your desktop. So if you own like a $5,000 gaming rig, yeah, you can utilize the Quest 2 as a PC VR headset. And the cool thing is, you can either do this tether with a cable or via Wi-Fi if you have a strong Wi-Fi setup. Meanwhile, with the PSVR 2, you're stuck with using that cable. But something tells me, just like what happened with the first generation PSVR, the community creates softwares that will actually allow you to actually use this headset on a PC computer in case you want to. Just be prepared to deal with a lot of bugs, and there's a lot of troubleshooting involved, because I tried this, it was a headache. But if you have the patience, you can easily do so. But my recommendation for everybody who is just looking for a VR headset for the computer, go with the Quest. All the bugs are worked out, and you get full support from the main developers that created the Quest 2, so they know what they're doing. Meanwhile, I doubt Sony's gonna want to support PC gaming with their headset. So that said, based off of everything that I've seen and research I've done all over the internet, my overall conclusion was this: the Oculus Quest 2 is more community driven now than it was before. But don't get me wrong, their gaming library is absolutely massive. You can find some main AAA title games like Walking Dead now, and more amazing games coming out in the near future for the Quest 2. So they have a really good gaming library. But again, it's tied with that metaverse. So Quest is treating the Oculus Quest 2 more for like socializing now. Meanwhile, Sony with the PlayStation 5 and the PSVR 2, they're treating this as a focused gaming headset. And it will do a good job, especially with the full VR immersion with those haptic feedback sensors and the OLED display. So if you're playing spooky games, I would highly recommend playing with the PlayStation VR 2 compared to the Quest 2. But don't get me wrong, both of these VR headsets are absolutely amazing. The Quest 2 is honestly like a Swiss Army knife. It could do a lot of things than just be a dedicated VR headset. Whereas the PSVR, you're locked at that ecosystem, but it's not a bad ecosystem, because after all, it is Sony. They have some amazing games. So again, it's just all personal preference. If you have a PlayStation 5 and you want to get into the VR games, and you have a lot of games under the Sony brand, PSVR 2 will be the best choice. But if you're more on the PC gaming side, the Quest 2 is an amazing headset nonetheless. Just the PSVR 2, I'm really impressed with the technology they're using. But that's just me mumbling on. But there you guys have it. Those are the pros and cons, some things to definitely consider when choosing between these two amazing VR headsets. Will Sony take the crown for being the best consumer VR headset? I think they have a high possibility, especially if they're just going to constantly focus on just the gaming aspect of things. They'll be easily able to succeed. But that's just my 2 cents. I miss that guy. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get my hands on it and make a real in-depth review video comparing these two amazing headsets side by side. So make sure you are subscribed for that. If you got some good useful information out of this video, you know what to do. Greatly appreciate it if you guys would leave this video a like, as it'll help me out a lot. And get subscribed, especially if you enjoy a lot of tech videos just like this. If you'd like to catch me live, click on the Twitch link in the video description down below. I stream on Saturdays and Sundays. Catch me there, say hi, and come hang out. For that VR headset comparison I made was the current generation console, you can go ahead and check out this video over here as I take the PlayStation 5, pair with the PSVR 1, against the Oculus Quest 2. And then that video over there, that's just the video that YouTube is recommending specifically for you. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.